Fear. It is something we all experience, and therefore something we can all appreciate. And perhaps it could be argued that nothing is more destructive to human happiness and well-being than fear itself. Fear is deeply unpleasant, and so no one chooses to live in this state. Rather, fear arises in response to our perception of our environment and our judgment about what our senses are telling us. And so in times of crisis, where our environment is highlighting potential risks, the natural response is to be motivated by fear and to shift our concerns towards self-protection. During times of crisis, this drive can create a struggle as we come up against others that have the same motive. In this way, we experience the pain and hardship that follows when we fight with people in our community. But even though this fact is easy to recognize, it can be difficult to imagine how we could override the impulses which seem to offer the best chances for our survival. After all, if we are surrounded by conditions that are full of panic and selfish grabbing, it seems impossible to imagine how we could respond in any other manner whilst still obtaining the things we need. But this issue has a bigger significance in our times, and it will determine the world of tomorrow. If we accept that our complex society will inevitably suffer periods of crisis, the question for all of us is whether we want to depend solely on the systems of the economy to obtain what we need. In times of crisis, we will then experience, as a consequence, the stresses that come from excessive demand and limited supply, which include hoarding, violence, and profiteering. It's important to remember that the sophisticated distribution system of the global economy is a very recent development. Before this system shaped our way of life, money was important, but there was another currency that was equally valued, and that currency was human relationships. In the course of our life, we can never be truly independent. There will come a day where we have a need we cannot fulfill, and if we cannot pay a stranger, we depend on the willingness of another to give us what we need without the incentive of payment. Thus, in times of crisis, our relationships with the people around us can give us the things we need, even if the market fails to provide. In light of this, our personal relationships are a currency that is equal in value to money, because these connections enable us to find support even in the worst of times. Our connections to other people are a source of support that go beyond the mere exchange of favors. Social interaction is a source of strength and inspiration that is vital for our well-being. The support of other people is very often what sustains us during periods of hardship. But this free and open interaction is threatened by the fear that accompanies a crisis in society. In this way, if we allow ourselves to give in to our protective impulses, we can cut ourselves off from the social connection that could be our greatest asset. And so, against an unsettling backdrop of uncertainty, there is an opportunity for each of us to consider how we live and how we interact with the people around us. Going through this process may not only prevent undesirable outcomes, but it could also lead to the development of new arrangements that allow people to live in such a way that eliminates unnecessary fear. This is an opportunity that is being presented to all of us alive at this time, and it's an opening to change our society in a way that can better serve all of us.